the stockfish." "Why didn't you bring some of them home then, Mr. Oxenham?" "Why weren't you there to help to carry them? We would have brought them away safe enough, and young Drake and I had broke the door abroad already, but Captain Drake goes off in a dead faint, and when we came to look, he had a wound in his leg you might have laid 3 fingers in, and his boots were full of blood, and had been for an hour or more. But the heart of him was that he never knew it till he dropped, and then his brother and I got him away to the boats, he kicking and struggling, and bidding us let him go on with the fight, though every step he took in the sand was in a pool of blood. And so we got off. And tell me, you sons of shot and herrings, wasn't it worth more to save him than the dirty silver? For silver we can get again, brave boys. There's more fish in the sea than ever came out of it, and more silver in nombre de Dios than would pave all the streets in the West Country. But of such captains as Frankie Drake, heaven never makes but one at a time, and if we lose him, goodbye to England's luck, say I, and who don't agree, let him choose his weapons, and I'm his man." He who delivered this harangue was a tall and sturdy personage, with a florid, black-bearded face, and bold, restless, dark eyes, who leaned, with crossed legs and arms akimbo, against the wall of the house, and seemed, in the eyes of the schoolboy, a very magnifico, some prince or duke at least. He was dressed, contrary to all sumptuary laws of the time, in a suit of crimson velvet, a little the worse, perhaps, for wear. By his side were a long Spanish rapier and a brace of daggers, gaudy enough about the hilts. His fingers sparkled with rings. He had 2 or 3 gold chains about his neck, and large earrings in his ears, behind one of which a red rose was stuck jauntily enough among the glossy black curls. On his head was a broad velvet Spanish hat, in which, instead of a feather, was fastened with a great gold clasp a whole queasel bird, whose gorgeous plumage of fretted golden green shone like one entire precious stone. As he finished his speech, he took off the said hat, and looking at the bird in it, "Look ye, my lads, did you ever see such a fowl as that before? That's the bird which the old Indian kings of Mexico let no one wear but their own selves, and therefore I wear it, I, John Oxenham of South Taunton, for a sign to all brave lads of Devon, that as the Spaniards are the masters of the Indians, we're the masters of the Spaniards." And he replaced his hat. A murmur of applause followed, but one hinted that he doubted the Spaniards were too many for them. "Too many? How many men did we take nombre de Dios with? 73 were we, and no more when we sailed out of Plymouth Sound. And before we saw the Spanish Main, half were gastados, used up, as the Dons say, with the scurvy. And in Port Pheasant, Captain Rawes of Cowes fell in with us, and that gave us some 30 hands more. And with that handful, my lads, only 53 in all, we picked the luck of the New World. And whom did we lose but our trumpeter, who stood braying like an ass in the middle of the square instead of taking care of his neck like a Christian? I tell you, those Spaniards are rank cowards, as all bullies are. They pray to a woman, the idolatrous rascals, and no wonder they fight like women." "You'm right, Captain," sang out a tall, gaunt fellow, who stood close to him. "One West Countryman can fight 2 Easterlings, and an Easterling can beat 3 Dons any day. Eh, my lads of Devon? For, oh, it's the herrings and the good brown beef and the cider and the cream so white. Oh, they are the making of the jolly Devon lads for to play and eke to fight." "Come," said Oxenham, "come along. Who lists? Who lists? Who'll make his fortune? Oh, who will join jolly mariners all, and who will join, says he, oh, to fill his pockets with the good red gold by sailing on the sea, oh." "Who'll list?" cried the gaunt man again. "Now's your time. We've got 40 men to Plymouth now, ready to sail the minute we get back, and we want a dozen out of you Bedford men, and just a boy or 2, and then we muff and away, and make our fortunes or go to heaven. Our bodies in the sea so deep, our souls in heaven to rest, where valiant seamen one and all hereafter shall be blessed." "Now," said Oxenham, You won't let the Plymouth men say that the Biddeford men daren't follow them? North Devon against South it is. All join, it is but a step of a way after all, and sailing as smooth as a duck pond as soon as you're past Cape Finisterre. I'll run a Clovelly herring boat there and back for a wager of £20, and never ship a bucketful all the way. All join. Don't think you're buying a pig in a poke. I know the road, and Salvation Yo, here, too, who is the gunner's mate, as well as I do the narrow seas, and better. You ask him to show you the chart of it now, and see if he don't tell you over the rutty herb as well as Drake himself. On which the gaunt man pulled from under his arm a great white buffalo horn covered with rough etchings of land and sea, and held it up to the admiring ring. "See here, boys, all, and behold the picture of the place, drawed out, 's natural as ever was life. I got man from a Portingal down to the Azores, and he'd pricked man out, wheresoever he'd sailed, and whatsoever he'd seen. Take man in your hands now, Simon Evans, take man in your hands, look man over, and I'll warrant you'll know the way in 5 minutes so well as ever a shark in the seas." And the horn was passed from hand to hand, while Oxenham, who saw that his hearers were becoming moved, called through the open window for a great tankard of sack, and passed that from hand to hand, after the horn. The schoolboy, who had been devouring with eyes and ears all which passed, and had contrived by this time to edge himself into the inner ring, now stood face to face with the hero of the Emerald Crest, and got as many peeps as he could at the wonder. But when he saw the sailors, one after another, having turned it over a while, come forward and offer to join Mr. Oxenham, his soul burned within him for a nearer view of that wondrous horn, as magical in its effects as that of Tristram, or the enchanters in Ariosto. And when the group had somewhat broken up, and Oxenham was going into the tavern with his recruits, he asked boldly for a nearer sight of the marvel, which was granted at once. And now, to his astonished gaze, displayed themselves cities and harbours, dragons and elephants, whales which fought with sharks, plate ships of Spain, islands with apes and palm trees, each with its name overwritten, and here and there, "Here is gold," and again, "much gold and silver," inserted, most probably, as the words were in English, by the hands of Mr. Oxenham himself. Lingeringly and longingly the boy turned it round and round. Oh, if he could but possess that horn, what needed he on earth beside to make him blessed? "I say, will you sell this?" "Ay, marry, on my own soul, if I can get the worth of it." "I want the horn. I don't want your soul. It's somewhat of a stale soul, for all I know, and there are plenty of fresh ones in the bay." And thereafter, after much fumbling, he pulled out a tester, the only one he had, and asked if that would buy it. "That? No, nor 20 of them." The boy thought over what a good knight-errant would do in such case, and then answered, "Tell you what, I'll fight you for it." "Thank ye, sir." "Break the jackanapes' head for him, yo," said Oxenham. "Call me jackanapes again, and I break yours, sir." And the boy lifted his fist fiercely. Oxenham looked at him a minute, smilingly. "Tut, tut, my man, hit one of your own size, if you will, and spare little folk like me." "If I have a boy's age, sir, I have a man's fist. I shall be 15 years old this month, and know how to answer anyone who insults me." 15, my young cockerel? You look like her 20, said Oxenham, with an admiring glance at the lad's broad limbs, keen blue eyes, curling golden locks, and round, honest face. 15? If I had half a dozen such lads as you, I'd make knights of them before I died. Eh, Yo? He'll do, said Yo. He'll make a brave gamecock in a year or two, if he dares ruffle up so early a tough old hen-master like the captain. At which there was a general laugh, in which Oxenham joined as loudly as any, and then bade the lad tell him why he was so keen after the horn. "Because," said he, looking up boldly, "I want to go to sea. I want to see the Indies. I want to fight the Spanish.